Hello, friends, and welcome back to TJKidz Super Fun Stories, where imagination becomes reality. Today, the Pickle Bros are back, and this time, they're trading in their pickle empire for something a little louder, a little wilder, and a whole lot more musical. And if you haven't heard their first adventure yet, you might want to check that out. It's our most popular story. So grab a comfy spot, get cozy, and join me on this adventure. The Pickle Bros, Rockin the Brine. Life inside the pickle jar had been surprisingly peaceful since the brothers' big adventure. The brine bubbled softly, the dill swayed gently, and the four brothers spent their days laughing, telling stories, and remembering the wild times they'd had outside the fridge. They played games, floated around, and enjoyed the comfort of being together again. But not everything was perfect. Jonathan stared up at the glass lid one afternoon, feeling a familiar itch in his bumps. "Bros, I miss my bass guitar," he said. "I miss music. I miss the dream." Tom looked over. "The dream? You mean the band thing?" "Yeah," Jonathan said. "I don't want to let it go. I'll never know if I could have made it unless I try again. And we still have some money left over from our pickle empire. But I can't do it alone. I'd need you guys to join the band too." Steve swirled slowly in the brine. "I don't know. The bubbling sound in here is peaceful. It feels like home." "I've never really played anything before," Tom said. "I don't know if I'd be any good." Landon perked up immediately.
"I want to sing. I need a pickle microphone. A real one. A fancy one."
"Okay," said Jonathan. "You can sing, Landon. But we still need Tom and Steve. What do you say, bros? Can we give it a try? I've already written some songs. All we need are some instruments and a little practice." Steve thought about it. "I've always liked the sound of rhythmic drums. Maybe I could try that." "Well," Tom said with a sigh, "I guess rhythm guitar could be cool." Jonathan lit up. "Then it's settled. We're starting a band. The Pickle Bros." With a united wiggle, the brothers pushed against the lid. Pop! It flew off, and the four pickles rolled out onto the counter once again. "It feels good to be free," Tom said. "It's nice to stretch my bumps," Steve added. "I'm ready to get jamming," Jonathan said. Landon grinned. "Pickles!" They gathered the leftover coins from their pickle empire and headed straight to the music store. Jonathan bought a shiny new bass guitar. Tom picked out a V-shaped rhythm guitar with pointy edges and just the right amount of sparkle. Steve chose a drum set with a deep, warm tone, and Landon proudly ordered a custom pickle microphone, though it wouldn't arrive for a while, so he grabbed a regular one to practice with. Back at their pickle farm, the brothers set up their instruments and began to practice. Jonathan shared the lyrics he'd written, heartfelt, meaningful, and full of pickle life wisdom. He cleared his throat and read a verse. In a jar we were born, in the brine we would sway, dreaming of a world where we'd rock every day. Crunch in our hearts, rhythm in our soul, pickle life forever, that's our goal. Landon stared at the page.
These lyrics are boring.
Boring? Said Jonathan. These lyrics are special. They have meaning. It's the pickle life, bro.
It needs more.
Landon said. More what? Asked Jonathan.
More pickle.
Landon declared. Ah, Jonathan sighed. Just try singing it the way it's written.
Fine.
Landon said.
But I'm telling you, it needs more pickle.
They started jamming. Jonathan strummed a bass line, Tom played a smooth rhythm, and Steve tapped out a steady beat. Landon stepped up to the microphone, took a deep breath, and belted out.
Pickles, pickles, pickles.
Jonathan stopped playing. Landon, you didn't sing the lyrics.
These are the lyrics.
Landon said proudly. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they...
Landon! Jonathan shouted. Landon sighed dramatically.
All right, fine. I'll sing your lyrics.
But he didn't look happy about it. Still, the brothers practiced for days. They tightened their sound, learned their parts, and finally landed their first gig, a performance at the annual Brine and Shine Festival. The announcer stepped up to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Pickle Bros! The crowd cheered. The brothers took their places. Jonathan counted them in. The music kicked off strong. Everything was going perfectly. Then it was time for Landon to sing. He grabbed the microphone, planted his feet, and yelled, "Pickles!" The word blasted through the speakers. Jonathan nearly dropped his guitar. Tom forgot what chord came next. Steve lost his beat for a moment. But the crowd didn't care. They erupted, shouting the word right back at him. Pickles, pickles, pickles. Landon bounced around the stage, his excitement growing by the minute. He belted along with the music, but the only lyric he offered was pickles. He stretched it, squashed it, sped it up, slowed it down, but always pickles. The crowd went wild.
Pickles, 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 pickles.
The Pickle Bros had officially become a hit. But Jonathan wasn't celebrating. After the show, he confronted Landon. We agreed you'd sing the lyrics. Landon shrugged him off.
Chill out. The people love pickles. Pickles is the way.
Despite their disagreements, the Pickle Bros were suddenly in high demand. More events wanted them. More crowds asked for them. And they didn't have time to argue. The people wanted the Pickle Bros, and they wanted them now. They played more gigs. Landon kept doing the same thing, chanting "Pickles" in different pitches, speeds, and dramatic styles. The crowd adored him, but the rest of the band grew frustrated. We don't have any meaningful lyrics, Tom said. We're basically background noise, Steve added. And Landon? Well, Landon got even more carried away. He ran across the stage, tripping over chords and unplugging guitars. He dove into the crowd mid-song. He shouted pickles at random moments that didn't fit the music at all. The audience started looking confused. Finally, the brothers sat him down. Landon, Jonathan said, you have to sing the songs the way we wrote them, or you're going to be out of the band. Landon crossed his arms.
Fine, I quit. I don't need you holding me back. The people want more pickles. I'll give them more pickles.
And just like that, he left. Landon went on to perform solo. He found a manager who convinced him to sing love songs. Slow, emotional, dramatic love songs. But Landon still only sang one word: pickles. At first, his manager booked him for a few small clubs. A handful of curious people showed up, wondering what Landon the Pickle Bro would sound like on his own. But his solo career didn't take off the way he had imagined. Each show drew fewer and fewer people than the last. Within a couple of weeks, he was performing at the local deli in front of about 10 people, most of them just trying to finish their sandwiches. A few grandmothers covered their ears. One man didn't even look up from his crossword puzzle. Next, he played for 3 people at a grocery store. After that, he performed for one person who wasn't even paying attention. Each show felt smaller than the last, and his songs grew quieter, sadder, and flatter.
Pickles, pickles, blah.
Meanwhile, the remaining Pickle Bros tried to keep going. Jonathan sang and played bass. Tom and Steve backed him up. But without Landon's wild energy, they didn't catch on. Eventually, they returned to their pickle farm. Steve meditated by the river. Tom basked in the sun. Jonathan played gentle bass lines that drifted through the air. One afternoon, Landon appeared at the edge of the field.
Hey guys,
He said quietly.
I'm sorry I ruined the band.
Jonathan set down his bass. I'm sorry too. I put too much pressure on you to sing my lyrics. We should have worked together, and you were right. The people did want pickles.
Yeah,
Landon agreed.
the people did want pickles. But maybe I went a little overboard with the pickles.
Tom smiled. Maybe a mix would have worked better. A little meaning and a little pickle. Steve opened his eyes. Balance brings harmony. Landon looked at his brothers.
I thought being loud meant being great. But without you guys, it just felt empty. Can we try again someday?
Maybe someday, Jonathan said. For now, let's go back to the jar. We can regroup, get away from the public eye for a while. Maybe we'll try again with a whole new vibe. So the Pickle Bros returned to their jar. Not defeated, just wiser. They settled into the familiar brine, laughing softly as they floated around together. And though the world outside still called to them, they knew they'd try again someday when they were ready. But for now, they were home. The end. And that is the end of our story, friends. Woo! For a moment there, I thought the Pickle Bros were on their way to the top of the charts. Until Landon, in his typical fashion, got a little carried away. But luckily, the brothers were able to make up and work things out again. And that leads me to a moral I learned from today's story. I think the Pickle Bros taught us that chasing fame and trying to stand out doesn't mean much if it pulls you away from the people who matter most. Working together, listening to each other, and finding balance is what keeps a team strong, even a pickle band. So what did you learn from the Pickle Bros today? Anything else? Well, that's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Toodles!